Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, distinguished guests and dear friends, as President of the Public Affairs Forum of India, it's my honor to welcome you all to our 12th annual forum. PAFI is the premier platform for dialogue between business and government and continues to strengthen India's growth story. Our theme this year, as you would probably be aware by now, is India and the world, collaboration, connectivity, competitiveness, primarily aiming to position India as a global leader by 2047. I'm delighted to see the participation today and welcome all members of the audience to this forum. We are living through a time of rapidly changing geopolitics, and public policy professionals are at its center. The presence of government leaders, industry experts, and policy practitioners here today shows our collective commitment to turning today's challenges into tomorrow's opportunities. Over the next 2 days, you will hear voices from across sectors. What unites all these conversations is a single idea. India's future cannot be built in silos. It has to be co-created by all of us. We are especially honored to welcome back Honorable Minister Ashwini ji as our chief guest today. Sir, you are no stranger to PAFI, having graced this gathering in the past as well. I'm sure you will note that this year we are bigger than ever, a sign of our growing international credibility and ambition, with participants joining us from diverse geographies. You know, I was watching the video of you at the whiteboard explaining India's semiconductor ecosystem the other day, and it was classic Minister Vaishnaw style. Truly professorial in his candor, in his flamboyance. From Vikram, our first made-in-India chip, to the digital infrastructure revolution. From telecom to railways, you have consistently shown us what decisive leadership looks like. Your work leading the Indian Railways is transforming the way India travels. We are seeing new world-class infrastructure being created at a rapid pace, whether it is for new connectivity through parcel trains to Kashmir, the first train line to Mizoram on India's second highest rail bridge, or the expansion of the Vande Bharat trains to connect all corners of India. We also saw an example of Minister Vaishnaw's leadership when India took center stage in the world of creativity and media at the first ever World Audiovisual Entertainment Summit in Mumbai. The global media dialogue focused on creativity, culture, and collaboration, and will probably be instrumental in establishing India's leadership and shaping the future of the world's entertainment industry. We're particularly excited about your vision, sir, for India's AI ecosystem and the upcoming AI Impact Summit. We are certain that this summit will aim to drive measurable outcomes, particularly for deployment across the global south. As we gather here to discuss India's next growth phase, amid global uncertainties, we couldn't have asked for a better guide than you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in welcoming Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. Thank you, sir, for being with us today, and I request you to share a few thoughts with us on what is top of mind for you across your various responsibilities.
The consistency of our growth is reflected in the consistency of the format of PAFI. थोड़ा तो creativity दिखाओ यार. हर बार exactly same. Friends, very happy to be with you again. As I shared with you a couple of years ago, we are on path to a very good, consistent growth story in our country. I had said that we'll continue to grow at 6 to 8% with 95% confidence interval, and that was based upon the very well thought through economic policy that we are driving, I think that's coming out to be reasonably on spot, I hope. Or maybe that 95% confidence interval should be now set 98% confidence interval. And inflation is moderate, inflation is under control. So I think those basic growth story, the basic directional, the consistency of our growth stays there. In the first time I interacted with you, I had requested you that please revisit your growth plans, because you might be missing something in case you don't really aggressively plan your capex and your growth targets. We will continue to grow at 9 to 13% nominal, which means you must plan, all your companies must plan for a bigger growth target internally for your sales target, revenue target, profitability. All those items have to be recalibrated looking at that kind of growth. I also want to share with you certain things which have really happened very well in the last, since we last met. First, we have our own made in India semiconductor chips coming out of one of the plants, and 2 more plants will very soon start producing chips. Second, the dream of having the most advanced chips being designed in India, that also is coming true. Day before yesterday, I was in Bengaluru, where we started a new design center of ARM, which will be designing 2 nanometer chips. That's better than the 3 nanometer chips which we had inaugurated a few months back. That shows the confidence of the world, confidence of the semiconductor industry in our capabilities. And I was discussing with Rene, the CEO of ARM. He said, we have gone so much up the value chain. Gone are the days when only some of the coding work used to be done in India. Time has come when the entire product, complete product from end to end, right from customer's description to the final taping out, is now being done in India. That's a very big thing. That's a really, really good validation of our capabilities. Third, friends, our focus on talent, developing talent, is again consistent. In telecom, you remember we had set up 100 5G labs. In semiconductor, we took a target of 100 universities where the world's latest tools would be used by students for training, and we achieved 278 universities where the students are actually using world's latest EDA tools, Synopsys, Cadence, Siemens. They're using this, and the first set of 20 chips designed by students, taped out, validated, tested, student-designed chips were presented to PM during the Semicon conference. Now that number is 28 chips designed by students. And every day, friends, nowhere in the world will you find an ecosystem or a talent development program as big a scale and as deep in capabilities as our Semicon mission is currently taking up. The fourth point I wanted to share with you is the big reforms in income tax and GST. I'm sure you would have studied the reforms in the Income Tax Act. Any persons from the finance world here? Or the corporate finance wing of, these are only policy guys? Policy essentially, okay. Anyway, so the huge simplification in the Income Tax Act is, I'll request you to interact with your corporate finance people, study that, examine that, and give your inputs on what should be the next round of reforms in income tax. Give your inputs to the finance ministry, because we wanted to take the first round as complete simplification of the way the act is written. So that gives you a good baseline, and then the next rounds of simplification can continue to happen. We are also taking up, our Prime Minister announced from the Red Fort, that we are also taking up the next round of very big reforms, and that is going to basically cover every sector. Every sector we are going to continue. We are going to have reforms. So please give, from whichever sector you are working, please give your ideas, please share your thoughts, give your inputs to the concerned ministry so that they can start working, or you can send to Niti or Prime Minister's office also directly, so that that can be coordinated from those two offices which are basically doing the entire coordination work. We have got two groups of ministers set up for examining the reform ideas which come and then take them to execution. So in a sense, the things that we had promised are delivered, and more than that, the GST reform is a big reform. I'm sure you are all going through that phase, anticipating a huge jump in sales after the first day of Navratri, and that's the feedback coming from practically every part of the country. I want to give you the context of that also. Today we are about 330 lakh crore economy on 31st March 2025. 330 lakh crore rupees economy, our consumption is about 202 lakh crore and our investment is about 98 lakh crore. So combined consumption and investment, which are two big drivers of our growth, are about 300 lakh crore. Now, the way GST has been structured, practically every household item, practically every item used in farming, practically every item used by aspirational middle class will get cheaper. That means when lower prices, the demand will get a significant impetus, a significant boost. Even if we see 10% growth in demand, based on what our estimates are today, we should be looking at adding about 20 lakh crore rupees to our economy over a period of next few years. That's huge. That's really significant, because year on year we generally tend to add about 5 to 6% on consumption, nominal terms. And that kind of jump, when it happens, it starts driving the virtuous cycle. Consumption starts, when consumption increases, the capacity utilization increases, which means there is a requirement for more capex. Increase in capex means more employment, more new projects, which again further drives the consumption, because higher incomes, better living standards, all those things drive that virtuous cycle. So the two big levers of our growth, or three big levers of our growth, reforms, the continued public investment, and simplification of GST and income tax, will really, really help our growth story in a very big way. The last point I'll touch is, our capex story is very, very consistent. For example, in railways, by end of December, we would have completed 80% of the capex plan for the year. That's huge. In 9 months, if you're completing 80% of your capex, that means, and we are on track to achieve that. So far, the progress is very good. So that kind of growth is there in every sector. So the about 12 lakh crore rupees capex target that we have taken for the budget is very well on track, and the second round and third, the second order and third order benefits of the capex which happened in 22-23 and 23-24 are today visible in the real income growth in the rural areas. I'm sure those of you who keep track of how the trends are in, the income growth in rural areas is today visible, and that's reflected, that's a good reflection of the way the entire program, structured program is working out. I'll stop here to take some questions, if that is okay. And then we can have more. Actually, I wanted to have a fully question answer session only, whatever.
Thanks a lot, Ashwini ji, for that very fascinating exposition and also explanation of the GST virtuous cycle. I mean, a lot of us are now able to clearly ensure that we understand the impact of the GST reforms. You also mentioned that close to 80% of the overall railway capex has been utilized already in the ninth month. By December. So where has the bulk of the investment been, in terms of increasing efficiency of the Indian Railways?
Three major items in which the capex is going. First is safety related expenditure, and it's a huge target we have taken. Practically we are investing almost 1,34,000 crore rupees on safety related projects every year, and the results are visible. If you go back 11 years, then the number of accidents which used to happen were of the order of 170 a year. 170 a year, that was the order of accidents which used to happen. Because of all the focus on safety and huge investment in technology, better maintenance practices, better safety practices, the number has come down to 31 last year. That's a significant improvement. But we should not be stopping here. We are continuing our focus to bring it significantly below and prevent any major significant accident. This is the second large part is in capacity increase, and I want to share with you, I think I'm sure most of you know, last year we became the second largest freight carrying railway in the world, surpassing North America, whole of North America. At 1.6 billion tons we carried last year, and we are continuing that growth, and that growth is also helping the reduction in overall cost of logistics for the country. The third item that we are putting our capex in is totally new generation of railway rolling stock, which includes your long distance trains, your medium distance trains, your short distance trains. For example, in Mumbai, one of the biggest problems, and I can share with you, many of you would be having headquarters in Mumbai. One of the biggest problems we have is the trains traditionally did not have doors, and that was because of the huge rush that comes. Now, when trains don't have doors, there is a serious problem of people actually falling out, and that becomes a major hazard for the passengers. So we have taken a clear conscious decision that we'll be manufacturing a new generation of trains for Mumbai, which will all be like any other metro system in the world, doors properly closing, properly air conditioned, having very good, very high oxygen levels inside, and that will bring out a significant change in the way people live. There is this Amrit Bharat series of trains, which basically have all the features that you have in a Vande Bharat train, but it's basically for lowest income families, and for a 1,000-kilometer journey, the cost of travel is just about 400 rupees. It's phenomenally changing the way people live in the low income families. So it's overall, middle class families are getting better trains, low income families are totally different way of traveling for the cities, and the bullet train progress is also very good. About 350 kilometers of the project is now complete, the viaduct is done, and we are on track to start the operations in 2027.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Shifting gears now on to the semiconductor space, what is going to be the next phase of the semiconductor mission? You did mention that you are reaching out to academia and students in many ways to sort of contribute their ideas. But how do we, surpass design and get into advanced manufacturing of semiconductors?
So the 10 manufacturing units that we approved under the semiconductor mission are all under construction. And as I said, first one has started production from the pilot line. CG Semi has started production from pilot line. Another one, Keynes and third Micron, they will start their pilot lines very soon in coming months. The projects are progressing very well, and the entire ecosystem is getting built up. And the way we have designed the semiconductor program is, we will be manufacturing chips, yes. We will also be manufacturing the machines which are used in manufacturing chips, and we will also be manufacturing the materials which are used in manufacturing chips. So it's a complete ecosystem which is taking shape in a country. And recently during Semicon, even ASML joined us for the first time. Their CEO and entire top leadership was present here, and they were amazed at the pace at which India has made progress on the semiconductor mission, starting out just what, 22?
Right.
1st Jan 22 is when we started. We are here in 25, and within that short time frame, such a big progress has been achieved. Yeah?
No, clearly the progress we have made in the semicon space is enormous. In fact, I used to work for Intel in the early 2000s, and the shift has been absolutely dramatic in terms of the country's enhanced competitiveness in this space. Sir, you've also been a proponent of building the creative economy, and Waves, which was held in Mumbai, was a terrific example of that thinking. How do you have plans to tap into the creative talents in the smaller towns and cities? Because any social media today is full of great ideas and creative thinking coming in from the smaller towns of the country.
I'll share a small anecdote with all of you. One of the CEOs of a leading new world entertainment firm, I won't take name, he said, he's really big, he said, I came to Waves thinking of a third world conference, but I'm going back as a benchmark for the first world.
Fantastic.
And this is not coming from a person who is like, somebody really, really top notch in the entire entertainment industry. So the very extensive and a wide platform for the creator economy is today well set. The Create in India mission competition that we ran for more than about 10 months as a precursor to Waves, the prizes were given during Waves. That saw participation of more than 130,000 creators, and mostly from the tier 2 and tier 3 and even from small villages. Because it's a digital world, the barriers of entry which used to be there earlier are gone. People are finding opportunities where somebody would have to, way back, if you go a few years back, somebody would have to take a train to Mumbai and find somebody who will be able to give them a break. And here we have created a fully democratized platform which basically provides opportunities to a very large population of creators, and feel very satisfied about the progress made there. We'll be continuing this Waves Summit as a summit which will be held every 2 years, and I request all of you, especially those who are connected with the entertainment and creative world, to keep sharing your thoughts and keep giving your ideas of how to do it even better, that the people who think that this is a benchmark for the first world should continue to think that this benchmark has improved further. Now we have to do more to catch up.
Right. At this juncture, I'd like to bring in the audience. First question from Ishtiaq Ahmed, past president of PAFI.
Morning, sir. This is Ishtiaq here. I work for Abbott. So my question is about the artificial intelligence, sir. I mean, if Waves was a benchmark, then probably AI Summit, I'm sure, will break all the glass ceiling. That's what we are hoping for for 2026. One of the interesting sort of a challenge that any government which has to really govern at a scale faces with AI is how to deal with AI at the very first place. There are obviously a lot of issues in terms of, will it really replace the workforces and therefore you should resist it. It is also going to make a huge difference, especially in the sector where we work, healthcare, education, and others. Should we proactively embrace it, or should we just tolerate it and let it be where it is, and then just tag along with it? So what really is your sort of guidance on that, sir?
So we believe that technology has that power by which we can solve population scale problems if used properly and deployed in a systematic way. And we have demonstrated that through our Prime Minister's Digital India program, where population scale problems are today solved using digital technologies. We believe that we as a country must embrace technology, because if we go back in our history, inventing the numerals to inventing geometry and trigonometry to so much work on astronomy, all these things were basically are a part of our heritage, and that heritage shows that we are a civilization, and we are a people who are always forward looking. We are people who are always willing to embrace technology. So I think, and our government, and especially our Prime Minister, is earnest believer in technology. He's a champion for technology. We will embrace technology, and when we talk of technology, our bias will always remain more towards innovation than towards regulation. We don't want to be like other geographies where you put a law when you see something coming up, some innovation coming up, and put a big hammer and here is a regulation to stop this thing from growing. No. We want innovation should flourish. We want million flowers should bloom. We want our startup ecosystem. We are in the top 3 startup ecosystems. We must aim towards becoming top 2, and we must, as we become the 3rd largest economy, we must now benchmark ourselves in technology with 1, 2, 3, not below. That is the way we are thinking.
I'd like to call Pooja Goel of Udayti Foundation. Is she there in the audience?
Hello, sir. I am the CEO of the Udayti Foundation. We are working towards women's economic empowerment. It's been inspiring to hear all of the reforms that are being driven, and absolutely fascinating. The question I had was, how do we translate some of this energy and reforms onto the ground? And what will it take to build the capacity and willingness of middle and junior level government officers to really drive these reforms on the ground?
So the impact of the reforms is clearly visible in multiple sectors. I can give examples from the sectors which I'm responsible for. For example, building a multimodal cargo terminal in railway network. The average time it used to take was about 6 years from the date of application. That has now shrunk down to 18 months. We have, within last 3 years, we have commissioned 125 multimodal cargo terminals. And the industry tells that before your reforms of December 2021, the industry used to run after or pursue or continuously follow up with the railway department for getting all the permissions, getting the design approved, getting the map approved, getting the entire layout approved, all those things. That has become automatic now. And now the government officials are, to your point, the people at the field, the officers at the field, they are pursuing the people who have applied to commission at the earliest. I think that's a change in mindset. Our Prime Minister has a very interesting thing that he keeps on guiding us. Mind is there with so many people. What's important is the mindset to solve a problem. So that mindset is today changing in our country, and that's quite visible in sector after sector. Telecom sector, there must be some people from telecom here. The average time it used to take to get a telecom tower permission was 270 days, 272 days. That has come down to 7 days. 272 days, it has come down to 7 days. And I think 89% of the telecom permissions come in 0 time. So that kind of reform is today visible and making the impact is visible at the ground.
Sir, in your speech, you did mention that the government of India is very seriously looking at unleashing the next wave of reforms. And there are 2 committees, you said, that have been set up. Is there any, what would be the most obvious sort of areas where reforms should happen? Top 4 areas maybe?
The simplification process, okay, so let me take a step back. Our growth story is basically, there are 4 pillars of our growth. Pillar 1 is public investment in physical, social and digital infrastructure. Pillar 2 is focus on manufacturing and innovation. Pillar 3 is inclusive growth, and Pillar 4 is simplification. That simplification process, which started with removing so many archaic laws, rewriting the old, very irrelevant laws, but the sector needs a totally new way of thinking, removing compliances from the compliance book, from the statute books. That process, we believe, has to be accelerated further in a very big way. And this is where I will seek your help. Any compliance that you think is irrelevant in today's times, and any law that you think is absolutely irrelevant or it needs to be rewritten, please help us by giving your thoughts in proper way. I'll be very happy to receive your thoughts. You can give the thoughts you can share your views to Niti, you can share your views to the departments, you can share your views to Prime Minister's office, you can share your views with my office, Finance Minister's office. We are very, very happy to take any suggestion that comes from you, seriously examine it and implement it. Because your success is our success. If you succeed, then we succeed because the country grows with your growth. People get more employment when you grow. So that's the thought process with which we are working. Your success is our success.
And I'm sure PAFI will be one of the aggregators. So I welcome our members to share your views and areas that you believe need some focus and reform by the government. Back to the audience now. Raman, can you?
Good morning, Minister. That was a wonderful few words, and you actually made it a few words. Now that you are moving from infrastructure development in the railway sector, you must be concentrating on operational excellence, number 1. And number 2, long-term sustainable asset maintenance. Incidentally, apart from being a former president of PAFI, I'm also the chairman of the European Business Federation. And we will send you some thoughts on the railway sector. Now, the pads that we are using in terms of noise reduction are rubber pads. They're outdated. None of the major railway networks across the world that you may look at use those. They use the polyurethane pads which lie between the sleeper and the track. When are we going to move to things
Allahabad,
like that?
In NCR zone, we have
Metros
started.
Metros are there.
No, in the North Central Railway,
Right.
which is headquartered at Prayagraj, there we have already started the pilot for using PU pads.
Okay. Because they have done a pilot project and they have found it.
And the result is very good, and it's a significant improvement from the previous. We will be scaling up that very soon.
It's good to hear that because it'll make a huge difference to noise reduction.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the rail tracks. In terms of safety, it's a long-term thing because we have one of the longest rail track systems in the world.
Okay, so I'll make a quiz here. What is the number of derailments in North America?
I would not know, but they
Rail
have
tracks,
been.
it's totally related to rail tracks. 1,200 every year. What is the number of derailments in our country?
Much
Less
fewer.
than 50.
Yeah.
Less than 50. Less than 50. Again, 1,200. So things have changed.
Thank you very much.
Let's bunch questions now, in the interest of time.
Thank you very much, sir. This is Harish from Cisco. Good to see you again. We are going through interesting times in the global geopolitics, and countries around the world are all becoming extremely protectionist. So how do you see the challenges and opportunities in this space?
It's a very important question, and that is a question that practically there on the minds of every policymaker. How do we grapple with the absolutely rapid changes, sometimes in every day kind of thing? So yes, these are very interesting times. We must keep our focus very clear on what we want to achieve in our country. How do we want to grow our economy? How do we want to strengthen ourselves so that the storms which are there in the world are kind of we should be strong enough to absorb those and pass our ship through those big storms. That's the way we think. Our Prime Minister articulated it very nicely in his Independence Day address. He said, "Hame apni lakir badi karni hai." We should think of growing our own line. We should not think of what others are trying to do, or we should not think of reducing others' lines. We should think of growing our line. We have to become Atmanirbhar in practically everything that we do. We must embrace the things which are produced in India, made in India, in a very big way. And we must make sure that our industries are able to get that strength which makes them resilient enough to withstand any turbulence that is happening in the world.
Sure. One last question, this side, Ranjit.
Good morning, sir. I'm Rakesh from Carlisle. It's great to hear your views and the flurry of reforms that the government has announced and the deregulations that are being done. Those are most welcome. Does it also provide a segue to and the opportunity to relax some of the capital flows and technology flows under Press Note 3 and similar regulations to give further impetus?
Any suggestions that you have, and especially all the people from the world of investment management groups, companies like yours, please do share your thoughts with a cogent reasoning, and also make it very specific that this is the particular thing which is obstructing investment, or this is the particular item which is hindering growth, and we'll be very happy to examine it.
Thank you.
Thanks. With that, I'd like to bring in my colleague and Vice President of PAFI, Shivnath.
Yeah, before I take the opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister, given that he's been such an avid supporter and of the cause of public policy across whatever portfolio he has had in the past and currently. So I have to ask you one piece of guidance, given that Ajay informed us we have turned 18 this year. So every time you get into adulthood, the responsibilities and roles also change of an organization. What would be your word of advice to PAFI? You've been extremely transparent, seeking inputs, coming and giving us kind of, I would say, masterclass in major sectors, and I will talk about that in my vote of thanks. But what's your guidance to an 18-year-old trade body? Not a trade body technically, advocacy body, which doesn't really go in for a specific company or industry's cause, but generally the cause of public advocacy?
Very difficult question, as always. Shivnath will come with something really, really difficult. 18 years means you start voting now. There is a need for a voter list revision for you now. Okay, jokes apart, I think one thing that we really need in our public policy space is rising above the industry or rising above a particular sector's needs. Can we create a body of specialists, body of especially the young professionals below 35 years of age? Can we get them, collect them and put them into groups which look at starting from, let's say, every law which was enacted after 1947. Take a look at that. Every law which was enacted after 1947, take a look at that law, read it from the user's perspective, not from the lawyer's perspective, but from the user's perspective. Let's say there is a law which is on the textile sector. There is a law on the, let's say, related to any industrial boilers. Take a look at that law from the user's perspective. See whether that law is relevant in today's times. See whether that law needs to be either eliminated or needs to be rewritten. See whether it needs to be amended. And give your thoughts in a very structured way. That will really help the policy makers in getting the input from the people who would be getting the benefits of Viksit Bharat by 2047, so that you guys need to build the country that you want to live in, right? So what are the things that you would like to see? What are the changes you would like to see? So can we make a large team of 35 minus youngsters? In fact, during my tours in railway and other things, I generally ask the officers who are below 35 years of age and listen from them very intensely. What are the things they would like to see when they become the member of railway board or they become the chairman of the railway board? And the ideas that come are phenomenal. It's very, very good, very open, because they are, that group is connected with the grassroots. They can give us, and they are very open-minded, totally new generation, digitally native. It's a totally different way of thinking. So I would like that generation to come up with new ideas.
It's a fascinating task that you're giving us. So maybe when we invite you next year, we'll make sure we have that ready. So let's by vote of hands see how many below 35. We'll deduct the first line. Below 35 in mindset. I think that's the most important. So there you are. I think we have the cohort to get this initiative going. So we'll definitely do that. I'll just get there and do the vote of thanks formally before we launch the change that you sought us to change on the PAFI forum. So firstly, to this august audience, can I seek a huge round of applause for the minister for every time he comes. So may I say, given that some things don't change in PAFI and some of the folks sitting on the stage don't really change, so maybe that's also an indication. We will take that up as an assignment. But the one thing consistent about Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, not just in our corporate interactions, but as a forum interaction, has been that every time he comes, he gives us a masterclass in one sector, and now have seen it twice. He follows it up with a report card. So today was a semiconductor report card which you gave, but you told us all of this in 2023 at the PAFI forum on the final day evening. So thank you for being so transparent and so insightful about how the strategic vision is playing out. The one which I took away was anybody who's an economist in this room, a pure economy masterclass that he has given today in terms of laying out the structure of how public investment is being planned, how consumption investment is going to lead to the GDP growth. So Ajay, I think it's a big challenge for us to revise our growth rates, so this hall might need to be bigger the next time Minister Vaishnaw is in town. So we'll have to do that. But sir, on behalf of PAFI, I really wanted to thank you for being so approachable, accessible, but most importantly, so impactful. Every time you've come here, you have not just given assurances, but you've actually measured the impact, which is in a way driving accountability on behalf of yourself and behalf of the government, which we really admire and appreciate, and it's a big lesson for all of us. You said do something different. This year we have attempted. We have sought all the policy wonks, policy thinkers to contribute to a major initiative, which I will let Ajay talk about. But as a formal vote of thanks, I on behalf of PAFI, cannot say enough to thank you. We look forward to your support, and may your tribe grow. I heard somebody while he was walking in, sir, we miss you at the telecom ministry. I can tell you, many people miss you at many ministries, and they would like you to have many more portfolios, but I know you're human. So thank you, and appreciate your support. Ajay, over to you.
Sir, I can echo what Shiv said. Essentially, Honorable Minister has agreed to launch this book. This is one of the first books as we turned 18, and you've all heard about the book. This volume is not a celebration of the past. It is a forward-looking call to action. It urges public affairs professionals, policymakers, change makers to step up, to engage with greater purpose, to embrace complexity with the courage and clarity, and to contribute meaningfully to making of more inclusive, equitable, and forward-thinking India. At this stage, I'll request my co-editor, Rahul, to come up, and Jiva, who helped us. So Rahul, can you please come up, and we'll request the Honorable Minister to release the book. And after that, I'm going to request all the authors who are in the audience, all my founders, all the past presidents, to come up and have a group photo after that. Thank you so much. And of course, Chiki, the publisher. Yeah. So please be seated. We are going to start the next session immediately. Thank you so much.